Hi everyone, welcome back to Spiritual Growth Tarot. Although this will be your astrology reading for, let's see, it's the 8th, I think. It's May 8th through the 14th. And happy Mother's Day, by the way, to all you moms out there. And for everyone else, do your best to make her feel loved. So, okay, anyway, let me drop the camera down and show you this is like the week leading up to that full moon eclipse. So I definitely will, total full moon lunar eclipse at 25 degrees Scorpio. So I'll definitely include that little extra piece in there because it's so big and I want you to be prepared. And in anything else that comes through, of course, but then I'll really dive into it next week as well. So anyway, hold on, I'll drop the camera down and I'll show you these charts. Okay, what a week we have coming up. And I have run the charts to go all the way through to next Sunday. But I just have to note here, I mean, you gotta love astrology when you see these things, or when things happen, you know. I mean, my goodness. Well, here, you know what? I can show you more easily with these tarot cards. And I had them out from a live stream that Lisa and I did on Tuesday. So they're right here. Justice is what we want, right? The Justice card is ruled by, well, it's a Libra card, but Venus rules Libra and Taurus. Okay, and here we have the news link. So here we go. Let's do it this way. So Mercury quickly, moved a little bit into Gemini. It's only at 4 degrees on Sunday, May 8th. I don't know when the news leak was. Was it, oh my goodness, I don't know, the 6th, 7th, something like that. So Mercury freshly into Gemini, sharing information. Uranus is there, ruled by the Tower, right? Mars and Uranus. And here we have the feminine. We have gestation. We have birth. Right in the Empress, and then at the South Node over here. So let's imagine she is tied to the South Node in Taurus because she is. That's what that's all about. And then all these aspects going on with Saturn square the nodes. This is like the man here. Hold on, let me find. I don't think it'll be too surprising for you to see. Well, it could be that card as well as, I'll show you these two cards. Here's the way I teach astrology, you guys, except much more organized. Like, I'll have the cards out beforehand. I'm just now thinking of doing it this time. There we go. All right. So, South Node, the past. We've been through this before. Judgment. Do we want this happening again, right? We've done it before. We've gone through the Roe v. Wade. We've gone through Casey. We've gone through Roe v. Wade. We marched in the 70s. I didn't. I was pretty young, but I had small kids, so I didn't do it. But I was very aware of what was going on. And so here we are with women's rights, mother's rights, a woman's right to choose whether she wants to be a mother or not. And then here we have up here at the South Node, so South Node, what am I saying? So Saturn squaring the nodes. And Uranus is activated, so we have to bring in this whole, right? Uranus is like, is this what you want? Do you want to live your life this way? Are you going to get out and vote now? Yeah, they got out on the steps of the Capitol and they were all over the place. But here's what's going on here with Saturn, right? That's what's going on with Saturn at that square, at the apex, that apex of the T-square we've got going on here with the nodes. And even though Saturn is not exactly squaring Uranus, currently, it will go back. We'll have that square. I think it's in the fall. I just can't remember the exact dates. Yeah, I'm pretty sure it's November, right? That's right, I remember now. It's November, I think it's the 19th. Like, I just remember it's a week before the week of Thanksgiving. That we will have, Uranus will have moved forward enough and we will have that square. So, but it's building. And these big outer planets, these transpersonal planets, they start bringing in, oops. There's all the Saturn energy up there. Sorry about that. They start bringing in, so basically, it's like these two here, okay, Uranus and Taurus, women's rights. They start bringing in these big outer planets, transpersonal planets. You feel them months before. I've had it where I'd feel it the year before. So, if you're sensitive, you start feeling it as soon as it's within orb, and the slower they move, the longer they're in orb, right? So we're talking Pluto, you're gonna feel it the year before. Uranus even, Uranus can be so activating, especially if it's on one of your personal planets or hot points in your chart. So this is everything that's happening here, right? That square is happening. And then we also have, starting off this week, so women are fired up, right? And the moon was in Leo when this all, broke, and they've been fired up. And as soon as the moon hits 14 degrees, which it will happen during this day on Sunday. So this is going to be one heck of a Mother's Day. One heck of a Mother's Day. I'm hoping that there aren't heated, problems within, your family and their opinions. And, but, everyone, that's the thing, that everyone is, everyone has that unalienable right that is even written in the Constitution to structure and create and live the life that you choose. And that is bound by spiritual law. It's called free will. And no one is supposed to take that away from you. And the people that do are extremely dark, and there will be something to pay for that in the future. But we have to fight for it, apparently, right? So, if you want to tune in here to this stellium in Pisces, and it's still, conjunct the south, or I'm sorry, trine the south node, and we still have this, so to the north node here, we still have this aspect of the architect going on. Very tight orb here. And so I've spoken to that so many times, I don't think I need to bring it back. But Jupiter's going to move into, so a couple days from now, there's going to be some big things, and I'll talk about that. But at this nth degree, 29 degrees, it's the last degree, so it just has 30 more minutes to get to Aries. Jupiter into Aries is going to light a fire. It's going to light a fire of expansion into, I think, the right direction. And I think that we're finally going to blaze some trail. I can't say for sure who was the leaker, but even if it was Clarence Thomas himself, I'm grateful for that. Because this gives us more time instead of it being dropped on us like right before the midterms, right? This gives us time. And I don't care which side you stand on, whether you're pro-life or pro-choice. I will just remind you that free will is pro-life. Think of it that way. And I don't believe that the baby, that the spirit takes its, when the spirit takes its first, I'm sorry, when the baby takes its first breath, I believe that's when the spirit enters. And I've seen enough newborn infants to notice that there's always this little red, not too bright, but you know, a red mark at the base of their occipital region. And I've always thought, ooh, that's important, right? And I believe that that's where the spirit comes in, the occipital, like right under the base of the skull, and then comes in and hits the core and the heart. It all comes in. And then as the baby grounds and feels safe with the mother, Taurus, you know, we've got, so the spirit maybe comes in here, Mars, right? And then, well, it's all the planets actually. But as it comes in here, then there's, you know, I'm here. And then it's about survival. And as the mother is a good mother, then the baby grounds, brings in more and more and more of its spirit into the body. And then as we grow and grow and grow, we bring in more and more of our spirits into our bodies. At least that's the framework that I'm operating from, and it's worked well for me. But you know, you have your own beliefs. I'm not here to make you believe anything you know, different than what you want. I'm just talking about me. So, okay, so besides this aspect of the architect, which remember is an opportunity, and it's like I see it as the lever law in the spiritual realm as to, okay, you have these, now I'm speaking to this aspect here as well. I mean, adding in, so I'm speaking to the place where you've gone deep, you know enough, you know a lot. There's some intensity going on here because we're talking about Scorpio. There are secrets that are coming out and being revealed because of and sex scandals as well. I mean, look at Madison Cawthorn and see what's going on there, right? And they're all over the place. And then, of course, all the things that the GOP has been accusing the Democrats of doing, now we're seeing that that's what they've been doing, and it's all just been that big old game of projection. Well, now we have all these wonderful, easy aspects to show what we're headed towards and what has really happened with Pluto retrograde. Mercury's going to go retrograde on Tuesday. And the past is going to be deeply revealed even more, right? Because Mercury's going to go backwards. I'll talk about that in a minute. Or, you know, a few minutes. But this aspect here is showing us what could be coming forward in the future from the past if we don't take this opportunity to align with what it is that we want to align with. So what do you want to align with? Just think about it. You know, whatever you want to align with. Do you want to sit and play the victim and think that your vote doesn't matter? Well, your intention matters. And if you have an intention to not make a decision based out of fear, then you're going to spin around in that circle. Now, this would be the negative aspect of Pisces. But if you're wanting to make a decision, even if it's the wrong one, but you're going to, you know, go in a certain direction because you want a certain thing, then try it out. Just try it out. And it's going to be aligned with your new sense of values, because we're talking the North Node in Taurus, and you're going to be waking up more and more every day with Uranus involved. The sun is shining there. It's all about what matters to you most. And we had that new moon lunar eclipse, new moon solar eclipse that was all involved here as well. Now the moon's over here in Leo, but it's like, just look at astrology here. Mercury was newly into Gemini, which is all about sharing information. So the information came out. More and more information keeps coming out. The January 6th committee is doing really well. We're all doing really well because we're witnessing finally the truth that's coming out, and the justice should follow. And in our own lives, we're managing things better, even considering the fact that we've got this ridiculous amount of inflation. And for the most part, I think most of us are not falling into the trap of the victim game anymore, and we're being more and more creative. We're moving forward in a positive way, connected to source energy, and going in that direction. With Mars, we're going in that direction towards our source. And if we don't know what our source is, we're finding it within. Even though if you don't have a way of describing it tangibly, a name for it, doesn't matter. The universe is within us. It's within every cell in our body. It's within this. The divine spark is within the nucleus of every single cell in your body. So you never really have to look outside. But the more your beliefs are aligned with the laws of love, the laws of equality, the laws of free will, the laws of love, it's what makes the grass grow and the birds sing and the universe move. So if you're aligned with that, there's nothing to worry about, but you do have to, here on Earth, we do have to fight for love. We do. We have to fight for love. And it doesn't have to be a hard battle, but it does have to be sometimes a very firm no. Not again. This is not happening again. And with this sesquisquare here between the moon, this is not a hard aspect like a square, but it brings in a natal chart, you would look at it as like, ooh, we've been a little stubborn before, but you wonder why. Like, what was there a stand that was taken and had to be taken? Well, that's what's happening here. Women, the feminine is ruled by the moon. Venus and Taurus is ruled by, or is the feminine, right? So unless you just don't want to genderize it, and a lot of times I don't, but look at this here. Look how Venus is in semi-square here to the sun. And this is all connected because, you can't really separate any of these out. So we could say Venus, except for, the semi-square is a really tight orb, like 0 to 3 degrees. So I do have to, I do have to just kind of stay here with, I guess it's more Uranus, isn't it? Well, but then we have Jupiter that's in semi-square to the sun. Yeah. It just, to me, it's everything that is out in the news. Are we going to believe the lies of the past? Or is there something stirring deeper within our consciousness that says, hey, wait a minute. This can't be right. This can't be good. Because if it's not, so the moon here with the trine to Venus and Chiron is about, in Aries, it's about, but wait, hold on, I matter. My privacy rights matter. And I just might stand up and fight for something like that, even though, now this could affect all different walks of life. So if you're thinking, if anyone's out there thinking, or you're arguing with a relative, Mother's Day, and they say, oh, well, I can't have kids anymore, so why would I care about this? Well, this could blow open privacy rights, and people could access your medical records. Insurance companies can access your medical records and then have bias to what your premiums are already, and what your premiums are, and they were already doing that back before Obama created the Affordable Care Act, which was the main reason I voted for it, is because it wiped out the ability to exclude and to overcharge. It's still not perfect, but this assault on the feminine and their health care is even worse because we don't have in the United States universal health care. And if you don't think that they're not going to also come after the LGBTQ community, which may involve some of your relatives or you yourself, and if you don't think that they're going to come after privacy rights, if you don't think that they're going to try and classify you as less of a human being like they did way back when, before the suffragettes, remember what the suffragettes fought for. And, so it's like, if you're going to go into the victim mode of, this doesn't matter to me, so why do I care? It will matter at some point, someday. So here's the opportunity to get in alignment with the laws of love and safety and privacy and security. Taurus is all about security. Just remember that. So this chart to me is like this perfect, and the build up to it, over last week, I didn't see it coming. That's the thing with Uranus. It's unless you're a really tuned in psychic that will go, oh, okay, it's going to be an earthquake, or it's going to be this, or it's going to be that. I don't tend to move throughout my life looking for catastrophes, so they often catch me off guard. And this one definitely did. Although I should have known, because if I remember correctly, it was probably been a good year or so, well, or close to it. I'd have to look back and see, but I know that I did a tarot reading on Roe v. Wade, and I do remember it not looking good. And so now we can see it here. But the one good thing I'll say, and let me go ahead and turn the page while I kind of finish my thought here, is that now we know that so-called justices, Kavanaugh and Amy Coney Barrett, lied. Now we know they lied when they took their oaths, when they were questioned during the hearings. They lied. So, yeah, so there's that. Okay, so be careful on Mother's Day about getting in any arguments. It could be very heated. And Monday, if you had an argument with your mom or anybody else that doesn't care about women's rights, this in conjunct here, remember, it's a 0 to 3 degree orb, so we can only go with Neptune for this one. There will be some emotional adjustments to compassionately staying in your heart. Remember, Leo is heart energy, but it's very courageous. Now, in the negative side with Leo, it can be my way or the highway, but it can also be very, very painful for a Leo to not feel recognized, to not be seen and heard and understood. And that's one of the real needs of a child growing up. And to that degree that we are seen and heard and understood, if that real need is met, if it's met, as it's met, then it turns into our creative self-expression as an adult. So with Neptune there, with this inconjunct, remember an inconjunct will always create a need for an adjustment, because these two signs don't really understand each other well, and they just don't flow well. So you may wind up Monday morning feeling like, or even late Sunday night, of course, because remember, it's building from that 11 to 14 degrees here, 11 degrees here, to 14 degrees with Chiron, an exact there. And yeah, all of this is involved with the moon as it's moving this way and as it's coming into Leo. So we're talking fire of the heart, fire like the will of the heart, the will of love. And then as the day goes on, into, throughout Monday, there's going to be this like, but wait, what did they say? How do they feel about this? And how do I feel about what they said? And how do I feel about this now on my own, of my own volition? And that's especially true because of the sesquisquare that's still involved here with Venus. Remember, it's a tide orb too. So yeah. So again, maybe not action that needs to happen like with the semi-square here, Venus to the Sun. And that it's pulling in Uranus too, because remember, Uranus is the bigger planet going, just always putting it out there like, wake up, wake up. Are you safe? Are you nurtured? What about your security when it comes to Taurus? What principles, Uranus, what ideals, Uranus, are you going to stay faithful to? Right? And with Venus in Aries, remember Aries is daring. And with this adjustment over here to the adjustment needed, on the emotional level, this is just amazing. It's amazing. And the moon is still squaring, right? The moon for the whole, probably most of the day, the moon is squaring Uranus, the Sun, and we do have to involve the South Node. It's the whole... Yeah, even though they're not showing the 15 degrees square here, but it's still, just remember, the Uranus is still, it's like broadcasting. It's like having an internet tower right here. And it actually doesn't even have to have a contact. It's still, in Taurus, it is still broadcasting. So it's broadcasting, wake up women, wake up anyone who cares about their security and their privacy and their safety, right? And what do you own? And do you have yourself? Because that's all we can really own. Everything else can be taken away. But do you have your sense of self? And how secure do you feel within your sense of self? And what will you stand up and fight for if need be? Because that's what all these other aspects are about. And then Venus up here with the sesquisquare to the South Node, it's like, whoa. And then notice this, the moon squaring the South Node. This brings in that message of, wait, what happened in the past? Oh, we know what happened in the past. We know how bad it was in the past. We know what has gone on for eons against women and against people of color. We know what's gone on. We know what has happened. Are we going to stand for that? Because remember, there's this opposition here, and oppositions make you, it's like mirrors at two ends, So we have Uranus. So Scorpio's over here. Imagine again, like had well, here, I'll just do it. Let's put this guy up here again, because this is Pluto and Saturn and Capricorn. That's all that. There we go. So we've had this in the past. This is a past coming up. The imagery on this card could not be better. That's why I love the Rider-Waite. The past is coming up, and this angel is saying, is this what you want? Heed your inner calling. Is this what you want? Do you want the past to repeat itself? That's why the South Node's in Scorpio. You gotta love astrology, right? And then here we have with Uranus, so moms that want to be safe, and then here we have the Tower again, right? I better just leave these cards out. I might grab them again. So bottom line is, what will we fight for? I mean, my goodness, look at this. So we have this mirroring here from the past showing us it could happen again if we don't fight. And then we have the moon here opposing Saturn, the man, right? So here, let's put this guy over here. There's the government. Do you want the government to control your body? Do you want the government to make your healthcare decisions? I don't think so, right? And then if we had, let's see if I put the sun, let me see if I can find it really quickly. I don't know if I can. Let's see. Well, I'd put her there. We'd put the queen of, she rules her own body and she listens to her own intuition. But if we put the sun brings in children, brings in the happiness, brings in joy, brings in success, it brings in life. Feminine life force. So do you want this guy taking care of your life like that? If you do, then you just go back over here to the victim world and yeah, but you know what you're going to get in the future. You know what you're going to get in the future. So, okay. And all the while Pluto's up here trining the North Node, and if we think that things won't happen again, we're just being very silly. We're being gullible, because the downside of Pisces energy can be gullible. Yeah. Okay. So I can't imagine if you're in, I don't care what gender you are or how old you are, over 18 or even 14, 15, 16. I cannot imagine that what has come out on the news is not binging around in your consciousness and making you go, what? Wait, what? Right? So that's why I had to talk about this. All right. So Tuesday. This is where spirituality and political science merge. Okay? It's just, that's the way it is. So Mercury retrograde. Okay. Let me hold this up so you can see it. If you want to snapshot this. So Mercury's retrograde from May 10th to June 2nd. And it's going to start off at 4 degrees Gemini when it goes retrograde. And it's going to go retrograde at 4:48 p.m. Pacific Daylight Time. So 7:48 p.m. 7:48 a.m. Eastern Time. And it's going to stay retrograde until June 2nd. It's going to retrograde all the way back into 26 degrees Taurus. And it'll go direct at 1:01 p.m. Pacific. Oh, I'm sorry. Actually, I'm sorry. No. It was a.m. 1:01 a.m. for both of these. Pacific Daylight Time, 1:01 a.m. and then 4:01 Eastern Daylight Time. But it's going to have to get out of its shadow. And I didn't write down the date for that because, we'll talk about it when we get there. But so even once it goes direct June 2nd, it still has to get past that 4-degree point in Gemini. So we've got 3.5, actually, I'm going to say a good whole month of reviewing and getting information, getting more and more information about, let me do it this way in case you want to screenshot it. Take my hands out of the way if you want to screenshot this chart, because this is what it's going to be. These are the aspects. This is what it can be like for the next month. And then I'll go this way in case you want to screenshot that. Okay. So, diving into this chart, everything that I said before, everything, all of those other aspects are the same. But this Tuesday, again, well, didn't we have this in conjunct? Yep. Oh, okay. So Monday, the inconjunct was to Neptune, right? So I already talked about that. Now this one is to Venus. So the feminine, so remember it's like, let's put the Empress there, and then over here to the moon. And the moon, when it's in Virgo, so remember the moon is all about our moods, what we're feeling, and it usually brings in those feelings of wanting to protect ourselves and nurture ourselves. But in Virgo, it's really bringing in thinking about our patterns of behavior and habits, right? Like what do we do on the everyday scheduling type of, how is our everyday life organized? I love Virgo energy. It's great about organization. But so there's going to be some adjustment with this Mercury retrograde. But remember, this is like the chart for the whole period of the month. Even though things are going to move around, the moon's going to keep going, But this is like, the Mercury retrograde ingress type of a chart. So we can count on this, this being everything I'm talking about now being in effect for the whole month. So we're going to be revisiting all month long how we think about what's going on, and we're going to be getting, as far as human rights, rights of equality, we're going to be talking about the Equal Rights Amendment even more, and like why wasn't it ever ratified? We're going to be discussing things over and over and over again, and it's going to be a different type of a war than what we're experiencing in Ukraine, a different type of a battle. So all of these aspects are just, like I said, they're all the same. But Uranus, so Venus is getting in a tighter orb here to Uranus. Right here. So this brings more awareness about the feminine and the feminine fighting and standing up. It's like when Venus is in Aries, it's like you can put Venus and Mars together, right? The feminine will have a lot of energy. And we are going to be dissecting bits of information that keep coming out and challenging us. And with Virgo, focusing in here on with Virgo, the quality of Virgo, we're going to find what's useful. This will be more about health than ever before. This will be feeling, needing to make, so there's a feeling level here and then there's an adjustment level here. So having these feelings come up where things matter about our health and the way reality is structured, or the way life is structured, at least in the USA. And we're not going to want to get into any bit of chaos. Virgo hates chaos. And Uranus can be very, very chaotic. Pluto and Capricorn is really just, and the Saturn, all of this is just about, remember, it's this guy, top-down control. Arbitrary authority. It's bondage. So, yeah, and this is blowing it up. So anyway, adjustments for this whole month I see on the table. Adjustments because more information is going to come out. And I really hope that justice serves. Venus in that semi-square to Uranus is friction. Action has to happen, and action towards safety. Otherwise, we're just going to be stuck in the past and we won't like the way it feels. Some people might try it on and see how it feels and make a decision and then go, oh, wait a minute, no. And they'll change their decision later. And I would bet it's going to be after the full moon lunar eclipse on Sunday, if not sooner. Okay, so it's still Tuesday, and I ran this chart because it's Jupiter in Aries, and it happens at 5, just a little over 5 p.m. Pacific Daylight Time, so 8 p.m. Eastern Time. And it goes from, it's Jupiter in Aries today. Here's that 0 degrees Aries right here. And it's going to go from October, or it's going to stay in Aries until October 28th, and then it's going to retrograde back into Pisces until December 20th, and then it'll go direct again. So just think expansion. When it comes to Jupiter, it's the planet of expansion. It's the planet of healing. It can be very inspiring. It's what pushes us to do better, be better, have more. It can blow things up. We saw more COVID when Jupiter hit Neptune in Pisces, but now it's passed. And so it's moving towards Venus, but Venus is also moving quickly. But for this time period, we can really tune in here to how this stellium in Aries is happening. And remember, Aries, again, is moving forward in a bold, brand new way. It's trailblazing, it's self-assertion, it's positive self-assertion, positive aggression. It's about being individual and unique, and it doesn't like being left out. Aries it's about joining forces. But if you have to do it alone, that you will, rather than not move, right? So this semi-square here to Uranus is very helpful. Because it's going to be, action. Action will be needed, right? Just think with all of this, it's about action. Okay. And then with the trine over here to the moon in Virgo, now we've gathered enough information and woken up enough. So Tuesday is going to be a big day. And with this inconjunct here from Chiron, it's an exact inconjunct there, but it only involves Chiron, okay, to the moon, right? Something on Tuesday, I don't know what, but there's something that I think some information is going to come out that's going to be very enlightening, very helpful, and but it's going to involve a lot of people that say, hey, wait a minute, what about me? What about us even? What about women? What about people? It doesn't matter how old you are. What about free will? Because Aries cannot stand arbitrary authority. And the laws of love do not support prejudice. They don't support prejudice, right? Yeah. Okay, so let's see. Is there anything else? The moon has this sesquisquare here, so these two energies don't play too nice. And the moon in Virgo's, it's like the feminine. The feminine is going to be thinking about ways to make things work in their favor. And they're not going to like, this guy up here. They're not going to like that anymore. Homie, don't play that. So, okay, the other aspects are the same. Uranus opposing the south node, that's going to be there. It's just, and the moon, or the sun is just inching away a little bit every day. But this is a tight stellium coming in here. So it is important to talk about for a second, or just to name, that the sun conjunct the north node. So the sun is shining light on the path that we're headed. And then, of course, but it's always up to us to make those decisions. Saturn can often be tests and decisions. But, Jupiter breaking through in newly, into new territory, it's in Aries, it's like bringing Jupiter and Mars together. So there's movement. There is movement. And this combo here with Mars and Mars moving more closely, because Mars just, keeps trucking along. Again, there's that, do we want more of the past? Or do we want to move ahead in a new way that's more free and liberate ourselves? It's also great. Mars and Neptune is also just so great for getting in touch with your creative side and your spirituality. And then, once you have that deep connection within, you know which way to go. You get guidance. And it'll be consistent. If it's coming from the right place and it's not fear, fear-based. If you're hooked up to your higher self inside, which is what I see Neptune as being, especially in Pisces, the messages will be consistent, very consistent. And, you'll keep getting the same messages over and over. You'll keep getting those nudges. So yeah. So meanwhile, Saturn's up here trying to help us grow up. And who are we in relationship to a government or any other rules of society, right? Don't we have our own morals and ethics inside? Do we really need somebody from the outside telling us how to run our lives? It's like, no. But it's certainly nice to have the part of government that protects women, that has domestic abuse laws, that has deadbeat dad laws, things like that. That's nice. And we've worked to create that. So anyway, so putting all of this together, this is an expansion of the feminine, an expansion of courage, the feminine courage, the feminine voice, and everyone who cares about their mothers, sisters, the women in their family, the women in their lives. This aspect here, too, I was just kind of drawn back to that because I heard the word immigration pop into my head. This can be more movement towards immigration. Pisces often is about immigration. So that's what this whole, sextile is about, or aspect of the architect as well. Hats off to Poland. Oh, they're doing such a good job. So, okay, so let's move forward. So Wednesday, the moon's still in Virgo. All those other aspects are still the same. The difference is that Wednesday morning, we have the moon is sextiling, so there's an opportunity to dig our heels in, be very determined, and work with those past life gifts, past life gifts, and bring some more order into our lives. I often see Virgo as being divine order when it's worked really well, and there's the opportunity to work it well. So notice how we have that aspect of the architect coming from this stellium here in Taurus. Taurus and Virgo, of course, are Earth, right? So we have fixed Earth and then mutable Earth. So the mutable side of Virgo, or that Virgo is, will make adjustments. So it's like, we have our future. We know that we want more safety, more security. We want our lives to, we want life to mirror back to us more of our internal values. And then we have the past where we know how to just keep working it, And there's such an aspect here, and we have this opposition here that we're still working with for quite some time. And the nodes are always opposite. So we're always going to be working with this, not always, but for this rest of the year and more, with this opposition here. But it's this polarity, that's the word I was looking for. The polarity of Taurus and Scorpio is about trust, safety, security, and trust. Who can I trust, right? So there's something that's going to come through on Wednesday to help you with that. And it's also going to be, look at this exact opposition here to Mars. It's also going to be something that helps you know which way to go. And you feel ready and you know which way to go. Now, if there's any problem, like if you have a relationship issue or a work issue or a creative issue, and you've been having trouble and you don't know which way to go, I think by the end of the day, you're gonna know, because when you're face to face with something, then the breakthrough comes. The breakthrough, will come through. Oppositions can always turn into breakthroughs, but you need that face to face. Like sometimes it's the opposition of knowing what you don't want, and then it brings you. It's like you turn, you go back towards yourself because you know what you do want, via having an experience that you didn't want to have. It's like, oh, that should have never happened. What the heck is that? Do I want more of that? And or it's something to talk about with a loved one. It's like, oh, what just happened? So, and notice that as Uranus and the Sun are moving closer and closer to the North Node, we're having Pluto with this triple trine here. And as Mercury's moving forward, well, we can include Mercury there as well, even though there's only 3 lines. It's all just, because Mercury's going backwards. So, okay, so let's keep going. So Thursday, the moon's moved into luscious Libra. And we have an opposition here with Jupiter and Venus, and I'm going to include Chiron just because it feels right. So the moon in Libra. So Libra is all about balance and equality. It's about relationships. So Venus rules Taurus, safety, and Libra, relationships. So I think that there's going to be an expansion, and as the moon moves further this way, because the moon's going to go this way, and this opposition over here to Venus and Chiron is going to be even tighter, right? Because it's at 2 degrees, and once it gets to, 10, 11, 12, 14, 13, 14, like that, it's going to be really, well, let's see, where is it? Let's look at Friday. Nah, it's already by Friday. So this is the day. This is the day to get in touch with relationship issues and be brave. Jupiter in Aries is bringing in that ability to be brave, have those conversations, okay? Have the conversations, know which way you want to go, because it's towards Mercury, communication, gathering information, networking. This can be really good for work. It can be really good for stability. Oops, with this trine up here to Pluto. Check it out. We have a grand trine going on. it's a weird orb though. I mean, it's not a weird orb. It's a grand trine. But we don't have the Aquarius air to make it, like a grand air trine. Instead, we have 3 trines, but these 2 are air, right? So Pluto, being the slower moving planet, is up here like holding on to, with Capricorn, it's like, again, take self-responsibility. Control your life, control your time, work hard. Don't get into workaholic, addictive type of behaviors, or, work through that if that's what you're doing, if that's what's happening, because, we all have to go through all different kinds of addictions to grow. It's, don't judge yourself about it, but just notice, am I out of balance? Because Libra wants to be balanced. That's what it's all about. It's thinking about balance. It's thinking about more harmony in your life. It's thinking about more peaceful interchange, exchange. It's all about an urge for relationship, especially with Jupiter here in Aries. It can be people getting together like they never have before, wanting to, and it's like, maybe we're getting through the other side of COVID. I don't think so, though, because there's a new variant. It's like, but, if you can be vaccinated and wear your mask and still just go have fun. It's okay. And protect your eyes, too. A lot of people, I think, are getting it through their eyes, and they don't realize that it's, But what are you supposed to do? Be in goggles? I mean, they do. They have those shields, those face shields. I guess that's probably the best thing to do. But, goodness. Anyway, connections through communication. And how do we build something stable? That's what I'm seeing here. Relationships where you can connect from the mind, and there's movement towards that. And it might even be, with the South Node of Scorpio, it could even be finding a new therapist if you need, or if you want. I think everybody should have therapy. That's why I do what I do for a living. I love it. But anyway, with Jupiter and Venus and Chiron here, there can be some really good therapeutic work done to help you heal your relationship with not feeling like you matter, not feeling like you've been able to come first to somebody. With this opposition here and the moon moving this way, there can be some emotional release work or emotional, acceptance, where you're realizing, I've never committed, or maybe I'm committed to the wrong people, because because that's what happens. It's like you end up getting in relationships with people who mirror your relationship with your home life, with your parents when you were younger. And as you heal that deeply, excuse me, then things get better and they balance out more and more on the relationship level. So new frontiers in the realm of relationship is what I'm seeing here with the stellium. And you're going to have to matter to yourself. You're going to have to be willing to communicate and, speak up when needed. That's about the only way that you can work with this like relationship urge. Like there's a need to connect, which is healthy, but you're gonna have to get in touch with what your real needs are. And of course, like I said, connection is, and to be seen and heard and understood. Connection, warmth, safety, trust. Okay. All right, so let's look at Friday. So with Friday, the moon's still in Libra, and it's moved out of that opposition with Jupiter. So if you have connected with someone new, there's more of, there's more of, you have to be careful that you're not just trauma bonding. So you're going to talk about that. But it might be a day where there's a sharing of, and that's especially true with this trine here up to Pluto. Sharing from, your different viewpoints and coming from a position of your deeper inner power and your deeper inner integrity, and you're going to say whatever you need to say, and you're going to relate however you, with whatever you have, right? So sometimes we don't have all of ourselves, and we enter a relationship from a limited well of resources. But that's what's so beautiful about relationships, is that they will mirror wherever we are. And it's never going to be perfect, though. But if you just don't take things personally when troubles come up, and that's especially the case when there's something kind of surprising that comes through, and then you have to make an adjustment, and it's like, oh, whoa, I didn't know that was in there. Like some pain may come up when you're in a relationship with someone, and you're going to be surprised. It's like, I thought I was over that, but it's okay. It's all right. And if you're in a loving, trusting relationship where you know you're safe, there's no reason why you can't reveal yourself. In fact, that's what creates more intimacy, is when you reveal yourself. But if we're going to hide, then we're just going to be walking around with a mask, and then you're not going to have those intimate, close relationships like you want. That's just the way it works. So Jupiter is still semi-square Uranus. That's the theme. So in order to move forward in your brave new world that you're creating, you're going to have to take action in order to get to that place where you're trusting. You're more and more trusting yourself. And notice how the sun is newly. Let's see, did that happen yesterday and I missed it? No, look what happened. The sun moved on the other side of the North Node this morning. So we've got this exact, look at that. It's only about 10 minutes apart. This exact trine up here to Pluto. So by this time, so by the end of the week, you should know where you're going and what you want. And if you don't, that's okay. Go back to your meditation with your guides and just keep asking yourself, what do I really want? That's always a good question. And especially when you're running into difficult or feelings of inadequacy or pain or whatever, or anger. I mean, there's, sometimes there's healthy anger. But always ask yourself, what was I wanting before I bumped into all this pain? And let the pain come through if there's any. It'll help you grow and help you dissolve defenses. And those defenses need to be dissolved in order to be in healthy relationships anyway. You have to really know who you are, what you want, and go for it, right? Okay, so let's see. Yeah, I think I've already spoken to everything else here. Yeah, okay, we'll wait. Hold on, Jupiter, did I talk about Jupiter? Did I miss that yesterday even? I sure did. Okay, let's address it. Let's move on, and I'll address it on Saturday. Let's talk about right here. Jupiter sextile. Remember, sextile usually brings in some good opportunities. Jupiter in Aries. So the expansion of your courage, the expansion of your integrity, the opportunity to boldly go. I sound like a Star Trek commercial now. Boldly go where no man has ever. Boldly go forward in the life that you want to create. And the moon is, look at that, 0 degrees Scorpio. There's gonna be a little bit of an adjustment as you move through, and we're moving towards that full moon and that lunar eclipse. So things are going to start heating up and getting really intense. But what's going to happen, because remember with the inconjunct, it's always about, it's minor. It's a minor, like, challenging aspect. Always 5 signs apart. But again, remember there's that not understanding each other. You know, like Aries just wants to go, and Scorpio's like, wait a minute, who's in charge? Wait a minute, where do you exactly want to go, and what might that be like? Scorpio's like, do I trust this person to go? Do I trust myself to go where I want to go? There's a questioning there. I'm afraid I might create a crisis over here, right? But Jupiter in Aries is like, oh, come on, man, just jump. It'll be healing, it'll be fun. But the moon in Scorpio is like, oh, hold on, right? I want to go deeper. I don't want to just rush around. I want to go deeper. I want to heal my fear of betrayal. I want to heal my need for intensity that can hold my soul back. If you're an intensity junkie, like literally this could be jumping out of a plane. Like this could be an unconscious death wish. And then this could be this like, well, I don't want to feel that. I'm just going to go. I don't want to even work with that. So there's going to be an adjustment into, and I'm, exaggerating the possibilities here just to bring out the points. But this can be an adjustment. I'm feeling like on one level politically, this Jupiter in Aries is bringing out the feminine courage and everyone's courage, because nobody wants their privacy violated. And the moon in Scorpio, I think, is going to bring out some secrets at some point. Because remember, we've got the sun still here with the North Node revealing. The sun shines the light and it reveals something. Well, what does it reveal? Something from the past where, maybe there was some, well, shoot, who knows? Something could come out about slave trading, sex trafficking. There's all kinds of things that could come out. And that's especially true because of this, this aspect of the architect that's still going on here between Mars and Neptune. On the worst levels could be especially with this contact here. Even though these blue lines are supposed to be harmonious, with this contact point here, I mean, let's just talk about this for a second. These aspects here, Mercury there, all of that, and then back up to here, here, and here, very, very, very well could be speaking to the possibilities for all this information to start coming out that keeps coming out with the Paradise Papers. We had the Panama Papers, the Pandora Papers, and now we have Panama Papers, Paradise Papers, and now we have the Pandora Papers. And it's like, hold on, let me find... Are all these cards upside down? I have this one card. Come on. It's one of the, oh goodness, I think it's like 40 or 39 or 40. Oh, let's see. Here we go, 37. See the light underneath, but then see all these ghosts of the past and the darkness? This doesn't apply to healthy life. This is negating life. This is controlling. This is as bad as, this guy. So, but the light is clear underneath, and we have to get all this stuff out. The information has to get out there, right? Well, that's what the ICIJ, the International Consortium of International Journalists. No, wait. International, oh my goodness. Google it. It's ICIJ. I think it's the International Consortium of Investigative Journalists. That's what it is. investigative journalists. And those are the guys that have been working for years, and they've brought out the Panama Papers, the Paradise Papers, and the Pandora Papers are blowing the lid off of the transnational crime syndicate of money laundering, billionaires, and perpetrators. So that is, I think, something that could definitely be coming through. I would not be surprised if by that full moon here, the lunar eclipse, or soon after. So remember the eclipses. So eclipses happen 4 to 6 times a year. The lunar eclipse is always more intense. When it's a full moon, exact total lunar eclipse, it's really intense. They always involve the nodes, okay? Usually the solar eclipses are more external events, and the lunar eclipses are internal, more internal. So the change comes from within, and then it can affect the external. But so here we go. Full moon lunar eclipse happens 9:14 p.m. Pacific Daylight Time. So it'll be, that's on the 15th if you're in the Pacific time zone. But if you're in the Eastern time zone, it's going to be midnight on the 16th, 12:14 a.m. Eastern Daylight Time. And here's the configuration. Here's what we could be witnessing. The moon will reveal, it will illuminate just like the sun does, but of course the moon and the sun are involved. So the masculine and the feminine, outer life, internal life, with the nodes, everything I was speaking to before about the nodes in Taurus and Scorpio, all this coming out. And, it's important that we have this conjunction here to the sun. Sun and Mercury are close enough in orb here, because I go with a 12-degree orb. And, yeah, and even that opposing the moon up here. So information, I didn't mean to leave that in there. Don't pay any attention to the part of fortune that I forgot to take that out. I leave it in when I'm doing personal charts. But anyway, oh yeah, how could I forget that? Uranus, don't forget, Uranus is still out there, like broadcasting like that tower I was talking about. This is still happening, right? But something is going to be illuminated from the past. So on a personal level, if you've been floundering around in relationships that aren't doing you any good, or floundering around dealing with intense situations in a work relationship, and you've just about had it, you're going to know by Sunday, by the 15th, 16th, you're going to know by next Sunday that it's not the right way to go. And you might not know yet which is the right way to go, but you're going to know that the old way won't work anymore. Now, if you have been on your path going in the right direction, I think that with the moon there on the south node in Scorpio, and this is at 25 degrees Scorpio, so wherever this lands in your chart, wherever the nodes have been in, the north and south nodes have been in your chart, it's already been activated. But with that full moon coming in, you're definitely going to understand more deeply about what you really need, how you want to protect yourself, how you want to nurture yourself. It's going to affect your patterns of self-care more deeply than ever before. And just remember, with Scorpio, it can be very passionate. You could be passionately charged up to, like, I've got to do it this way. And you're going to dig your heels in, because remember, it's fixed water. We've got fixed earth and fixed water. So we're going to dig in with everything in our soul, and we're going to work to, because don't forget, this is still going on. I love it. All of this is still going on. And we're going to work really hard to, well, we're just going to stand tall. I think we're going to stand deep, stand tall, stand strong on our spiritual path. If we've been working on our path, things are going to unfold and open up for us. And for other people who've been trying to control, who've been using these transits as a means to try and control others, it's not going to work well for them. You know, like I said before, the racists and the reincarnated slave masters, they're not going to do well. And anybody that preys on human misery, so like I was giving voice to with the transnational money laundering, sex trafficking, human misery, crime syndicate, grifters, traitors, all of that. And this is starting. So remember, you know, the eclipses can be in effect for sometimes 6 months beyond when they happen. They can start a month ahead of time. So this is all falling into the time frame of what we're going to be going through, what we're going to be witnessing. We're going to be like, oh, what? What did they do? What did they say? Oh my goodness, it's worse than I thought. For some of us, we're going to think that way. Let me just get rid of this. So don't pay any attention to that there. Focus on this. Focus on information, Mercury. The sun shining light on. North Node, we all need to go that way to be more safe and secure and to have life mirror back to us what we value. And Uranus is helping us wake up to all of that. And we know what happened in the past. And it's going to be blammo, like out there. Whew. So I think that this has everything to do with the January 6th committee. And of course, it'll be probably a couple weeks away, or that might even be a whole month away before those things start, you know, those hearings start coming out on TV or online or wherever we're going to be able. I think it's supposed to be on all the major like news channels. So, interesting, right? It's like stock up on your snacks, I guess. But anyway, with Mercury retrograde there, we can count on the fact that that's, you know, whatever needs to come out is going to come out. And then again, just keep feeling into what do you want to work really hard for? What do you want to dig your heels into and fight for? And Jupiter in Aries is going to help you have the courage. Like this Jupiter's still involved, but it's more courageous now that it's out of Pisces. But Jupiter, this whole stellium is still together. It's just that Jupiter's out of the gate. It's like the horse has left the stable. And it's bringing the wisdom of the past with it. And it wants a brand new future based in integrity. It's working hard to take advantage of all those opportunities because you're living from your authority and you're moving towards a safer, more abundant. Again, remember put her there. You're working towards more abundance. And I really, really hope that this helps to heal Mother Earth. I really hope it helps to heal Mother Earth. Okay, well, that's it, you guys. Thanks so much. Take good care. Sending you lots of love as always. Bye.